Okay. All right, we're live here. Okay. Here I am, Dan, the Philly sports man. All right, today is March 14th. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers today, okay? How are they doing? Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a hell of a season. You got a new GM, Danny Briere. He's doing a good job. And you got Keith Jones, the president, former player himself. I think they know what they're talking about. Nobody predicted the Flyers would ever go this far this season. It's the second season for head coach John Tortorella. It's all about the future. Okay, I like the trade deadline what they did last week, bringing in two players, the one Russian player Denis Gurianov, and another player I forget. Couldn't mention his name, but they got two other draft picks for the future. And although this team is building for the future, right now they're in the 6 and 7 spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So they have a chance to ironically make the playoffs this year. So despite this being a young team, they're a very strong team, surprisingly, okay? And, talking about all the other Philadelphia sports teams, the Philadelphia Sixers, Philadelphia Phillies, Philadelphia Union, although they just started. Um, all the other teams are on the rise, and Philadelphia Flyers have been behind for a while. However, I know they have future, and all of a sudden now, with about 15 games to go, they're sitting in the 6-7 spot with a chance to make the playoffs. And although they didn't, it's not important to make the playoffs. That no one expected it. I think it's very important that they make the playoffs because this shows that there is a future for the Philadelphia Flyers for the first time in a long time. Um, and it starts today because today is going to be the tough stretch of the schedule. Okay, you got the Toronto Maple Leafs at 7:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, and then on Saturday you got the Boston Bruins, and you got a bunch of other tougher teams. When you look down this head the schedule, now if the Flyers can survive this tough schedule, I do believe once you get down in April, they might survive and get in the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen, okay? Yes, I know the Philadelphia Flyers might lose in the first round because they're too young, but just making it there shows that there's a future for the Philadelphia Flyers. Okay, just that alone gives them hope and it would be great. And today is a great start. They played the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? Now, about a month ago, they played in Toronto. It was a 3-1 game. Somehow, Austin Matthews got a hat trick. He came back. They picked up a point. They lost 4-3. So much of the same is going to be happening again today. Um, Flyers tend to struggle against the easier teams like the San Jose Sharks, although they won a couple days ago. But against the good teams this year, they've been going very good. They beat Pittsburgh Penguins. They beat the Golden Knights. They've beaten the Florida Panthers twice, I think. Um, and they also played tough against Toronto. So for tonight, let's say from a betting perspective, I would not bet on either team because it's too close. But if you want to say to win, overtime, regular time, yeah, I think Flyers can go hand to hand with the Toronto Maple Leafs because they just showed they could do that a couple weeks ago in Toronto. So yeah, um, again, Dan, the Philly sports man. Right now, I'm only going to be talking about ice hockey, but we got plenty of more other things to talk about. But I think today's a good start for the Philadelphia Flyers. Going forward, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a close, tough game um, for the Flyers. They're still a young team, but this is the tough part of the schedule. If they can get by the next 5 to 10 games with a point here or there, those other teams that are trying to push, like the Buffalo Sabres, Detroit Red Wings, and the New York Islanders, for that 8 spot just to get in the playoffs, I think the Flyers can survive. But they got to get a point here and a point there. And then, believe it or not, they might have a shot to make the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. And that would be great for Philadelphia Flyers, despite being young. And I think that starts tonight. They got to go forward no matter what and hope for the best. And they're in a good position despite being young. you know. But it'll be great starting tonight. So it's going to be a close game, I predict, for the Philadelphia Flyers. The goaltender, Sam Ersson, he's a rookie, so cut him some slack. Um, I do think Flyers have a lot of good pieces, strong players. The goalie is a weakness, I would say. They lost the other Carter Hart. So worst case scenario, you have Sam Ersson and you have Felix Sandstrom in the backup. Goaltending is a problem, but maybe more time experience for this young Swede, and they will be okay. It's all about the offense. The Flyers got to score first. That's very interesting. I have to bring that up because when the Flyers score first, the record is much better because they don't play well from behind. When Flyers score first, they're able to dictate the tempo and everything else, and the percentages for them to win are much higher. Scoring that first goal is more important for the Philadelphia Flyers than it is for many other teams who can come back from 2 or 3 goals down. Okay, Philadelphia Flyers are one of those teams that slowly builds into the game. So scoring first is very important. And I think the Flyers, like last time against Toronto, can do that. So we will see what happens tonight at 7:30 at the Wells Fargo Center. Anyway, Dan the sportsman, Dan the international man, Dan the Philly man, out.